Welcome to Connecting Greeks, a podcast, video, and streaming show discussing topics affecting the Greek community everywhere. Thanks for being part of the Connecting Greeks family.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the Connecting Greeks show. We have a very special guest tonight, but before we introduce this guest, let me introduce the man, the legend, Angelo Tsarouchas. How are you, Angelo?
Hi, Adi. Hi, Forty. Good to see you guys. Hope you've had a good week. Welcome to Connecting Greeks. I'm Angelo here in Los Angeles. Yes, there's fires. Yes, there's rioting and looting and everything going on, but we're good. We've been managing fine. The weather's been good. It's 95 today, so it cooled down.
Oh, my goodness.
So you guys know, and I'm very happy today to bring a guest to our show, Connecting Greeks. As you know, we like to connect Greeks from everywhere and anywhere, of all kinds of disciplines, from all kinds of backgrounds. The thing we have in common is that we're Greek. A very, very talented person. He's a star on TikTok. He's a writer. He's written for major shows on different networks like Nickelodeon and NBC. He does stand-up, which is very funny. I've been checking out his stand-up. And I love his name because his name's more complicated than mine. Konstantinos Ioannis Constantellis. But we know him as Gus Constantellis. I say, hi, Gus. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for being with us. Now, Gus, are you currently in New York?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. I'm in Park Slope.
Okay.
I love it. Yeah, I grew up here, born and raised.
You were born and raised in Brooklyn?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think I've ever met anybody actually from Brooklyn, but everybody lives in Brooklyn.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of us. I mean, I grew up in Bay Ridge, which is like, it's like Astoria, but like the second Greek neighborhood in New York. It's great. It's so nice. I lived in LA for 3.5 years. I moved back to New York because I hated LA. Nothing against LA. It just was not for me. Sorry, Angelo.
That's okay. I don't blame you.
But now I'm back and I love it so much.
Awesome.
Now, would you call yourself? So here's the difference, because you know, Gus, I'm from Canada, so I'm from Montreal and then Toronto, and I lived in London, and then I ended up in LA. I didn't know how long I was going to live in LA because the plan was for 3 years, and then I was probably going to move back out. But I ended up meeting my wife here, and you know, one story leads to another. I'm here. I enjoy the weather, but I'm a huge fan of New York, and this is how I view America. New York, there's Los Angeles, and then there's America. Does that make sense?
Right. That's what I say. I'm like, well, there is the West Coast, the East Coast, and then the South is what I call it, which is not. People are like, Chicago is the Midwest. I'm like, that's also the South to me. I'm so dumb. I have no idea. And I really have I barely even left New York or LA. I've spent most of my time on the coast.
Now, Gus, do they call you Costa sometimes, or Gus? Usually?
Yeah, you can call me Costa. That's what my family.
You don't mind
me.
that? Because I know it, because you know, it's funny I think with Greeks, because we know, like, my name is Evangelos, but they call me Ange, they call me Vago, Adi, Forti. There's a commonality when you get to know people, especially in our heritage, that you settle in on names, you know. And I say I like Gus, but then it's sometimes say Costa. You know, there's so many, because in America, Konstantinos, Gus, but do you know in Australia, Konstantinos is Con?
Yeah.
Well, Kon, which makes more sense.
There's also Charlie. A lot of Konstantinos I know are Charlies.
A lot of Dino.
And Dino, yeah, Dino, of course, yeah.
But you know, Ari, Charlie, I find from Haralambos.
Yeah,
Bobby,
but you know, my dad's name was
Bobby out of Haralambos.
I know Bobby.
But my dad's name was Konstantinos, and my son's name is Konstantinos. We called my dad Costa, and we call my son Dean.
Well, let me tell you this, guys.
Yeah, Dean. Dean. Yeah, that makes sense.
As a Foti, I grew up as Frank.
That's horrible.
No, but I've heard that too.
Right, because nobody in my neighborhood could pronounce Foti, and the closest thing they could think of with an F was Frank.
I could think of something else with an F, but we're not going to call you that.
That's hilarious, guys. But how do you feel? Like, I mean, it's interesting because I watched the clip, and that's why I think Gus understood what I said. Constantinos, Ioannis Constantellis, and then it's funny that we all have a variation of those jokes because we all kind of grew up with that sensitivity, right?
Yeah.
And I loved your take on it. And how much do you find now? And you're the right person to maybe throw this question to, Gus. As a stand-up, there's been, I'd say, a little bit of censorship in terms of what we can say that doesn't offend people. But having said that, and even when I see you doing on your videos of your mom, which are hilarious, which I love those, because we all connect to that. But do you find being Greek, does that allow you, and I'll give you an example today. My daughter had to do something for school. She's 8 years old. And the girl said it was Dionysus. And my daughter said Dionysus. So the kid said, no, you're saying it wrong. And my daughter said, I'm Greek, I'm saying it right, which I thought was hilarious. And
I love that attitude.
She goes, Daddy, is it Dionysus or Dionysus? It was Dionysus. That's the pronunciation that we know. So my question to you, Gus, sometimes, and I know your comedy is not just about being Greek, it's about characters, but do you find when we need it, is it a good back thrust for us to have that ace in our pocket, the Greek thing?
Well, okay. First of all, coming in hot with the sensitivity question, I have to say, that's a difficult question.
Okay.
No, I mean, I completely understand. So where I come from personally in terms of stand-up is like, I think that there is a way you can be edgy, but it needs to be edgy in terms of what's happening in the world today. So
Agreed.
I think right. And I think where people can sometimes be like, oh, people are so sensitive. It's like, no, I think it's because sometimes the jokes people are making are just like, oh, that's old. Like we've moved past that as a society. But personally, as like a stand-up, I feel like I'm never really going to fall into that. Like because I get on stage and I tell personal stories. I am just me on stage. And so like, I fall back on like, oh, well, you think this is crazy? Well, you can't really tell me it's wrong because it's my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm telling you stories about my life. And if you find them offensive, it's like, well, that's your fault because this is just something that happened. As opposed to, here's just a hot take on, what trans people today, which is insane. You know what I mean? Like, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Good point.
And so coming from that place, like as stand-up comedians, like coming from that place of like a personal basis is always going to help us, like, one, just be relatable past the point of just like whatever we're doing on stage, and then like also not fall into the trap of like, oh, that's offensive.
Well, we have a mutual friend in Lisa Lampanelli.
Yes.
And she's hilarious. I don't know if Ari and Forti are familiar with her.
I'm familiar with her from the roast, and I think she is awesome.
And she's like the female Dawn Rickle. Now, if you know Lisa, she attacks everybody. She leaves nobody to, and I've had a running joke with her because she's a really, really funny lady and she's hilarious. But what's funny now, because I was on a panel and, some people say, would certain comedians be able to enter the market? I'll give an example of what I mean by that. I made a joke once, Gus, where I said that the Albanians in Greece were like the Mexicans in California. I didn't say anything bad about our Albanians. I said they do the jobs. Basically what I'm saying, the Greeks are lazy, right? That they won't do those jobs. And some lady went off on me saying that I was racist towards Albanians. The drepese, and I said, look, I didn't say, at which point did I say they were bad people or useless? I said, in comparison, if you go to Greece, and 99% of Greeks will agree, if you're in Greece, a lot of those jobs that the Greeks won't do because we're too entitled or too good to do, are done by Mexicans in California here. And she went off on me. And then everybody jumped on her. I didn't have to do anything because they're like, and I like what you said, if it's your own story or your own take of it, and if it's something that you're going accurately to about your lifestyle. And I think what happens is a lot of people, it's one thing to disagree with somebody's opinion, but you can't get mad at somebody for telling you the truth about their life.
Right. Absolutely. Yes. Right, and that's.
Am I right about comedy? Yeah.
Right. No. Yes, you were right about comedy. You've been doing it.
No, I'm just asking you. I mean, you're younger than me, and I'm wondering. It's like, you're a funny guy. I like your stuff. I watch your stuff. I haven't been able to do a show with you, but I like your stuff. You got great presence. Your stuff's good. You're definitely gonna have a nice career ahead of yourself doing this.
Thank you so much.
But I mean that, and at the same time, though, I find, because with me, I'm a little bit of old guard. I always say, Gus, I'm living in the old, I'm from the old, living in the new. So it's a combination of the two, right? So every now and then, I got to check myself, so I don't sound like that racist uncle from Tripoli or something.
No, right, I get that. Well, that's the thing with Lisa too. Is Lisa Lampanelli, like, I think her entire career was based off of this idea of intent and like what comedic intent really means. And her intent was, I'm going to get in this room and I'm going to make fun of every single type of person and we're going to have a good time. And then we're going to go home and we're going to know that it's bad, but we had a good time doing it. And I think that somewhere along the way, I think some people were like, oh, yeah, fuck the Jews. And she was like, no. I was not saying that.
Right.
Just saying, like, we're going to make fun of everybody and have a good time. And someone was like, those black people are lazy. And it's like, no.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say. And I think she realized, like, I don't want this. I don't want my message to get lost. And so I'm going to quit and retire, because I want to make sure that people aren't feeling bad about themselves. And I think that was a really cool thing that she did. I think she's a genius, really.
She really is. I've done many. And, somebody asked me once, and I always told them that, when I was in the third grade, this is a true story, I had to tell something about my family. So my mom is from Lesvos, and my dad's from Sparta. So they said, say something about your mom and dad. And I said, well, my dad's from Sparta, Greece, which is famous for wine, olives, and Leonidas, 300 Spartans. And then I said, well, but your mom? My mom's from Mytilene, Greece, which is famous for ouzo, olives, and lesbians. Because my mom's, the term for actual people from Lesbo is lesbian. So they sent me to the principal's office. I'll never forget this, Gus. And they said, you said your mother's from an island of lesbians? Well, that's what she told me with Saint-Foy. So they called my mother. They called her. And they said, you're Evangelos from an island of lesbians. My mother said, yes, I am. Now send him back to class. Mom had my back. Now, when some people, and this happened to me, they said, you're making this fictitious place up, Lesbos. And if you look at the history, that's what I'm saying. So I said, no. The history of Saint-Foy, there's a Queen labor camp. That is the origin and thus the name. It's even spelled Lesbos with the Greek V. So I'm trying to say it to people, and they thought even at an early age, the people were looking at me like, this is weird, And have you ever been confronted with a historical fact that to be true, but people think some people think Sparta is fictitious?
Yeah, right. Well, I think that's what's going on in America a lot right now, is like being presented facts and people being like, that's not true. And it's like, that is true though.
Right.
I don't know how else to say this.
Gus, Angel's speaking about his parents with her. Where is your background from? Where are your parents from in Greece?
First of all, I love Mytilene. I remember going there when I was 8 years old, and it was like one of the best places I've ever been in my life.
Beautiful.
It was so nice. Sorry, I can't curse.
That's okay. You can curse.
You can.
Yeah, you can curse. We don't care.
Great. Mytilene was fucking awesome. I love that place. My dad's from Aegyo, and which is on the Peloponnesian. It's on the mainland. And then my mom is from a small village in Varda called Capelleto.
Okay.
Nice.
It's near Patra. So it's Patra, and then if you go on that route, it's Varda, like Imoilia, around that area. And
not Pacto, all that place is there, yeah.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, and then my mom's village is like 30 minutes away from Varda, and it's like a crater in the earth. There's no cell phone reception. There's no bathrooms, but there's one restaurant, and it has like the best food you've ever had in your life.
I believe that. I believe it.
And the guy Mimi still works there, and he like never wears shoes and doesn't have teeth, but it's the best food you've ever had.
Are you first generation, Gus?
Yes.
So your parents came from Greece?
Yeah, they came in 84. My mom doesn't speak any English. My mom never learned English because my dad knew English.
Yeah.
And my dad learned English when he was in Athens as like a kid. And then my mom came with all her brothers and sister who's in Canada, in Montreal. And so I have all these cousins in Montreal, and they all didn't speak English growing up. Like all my aunts and uncles know English. Now, few of them know a few words. My mom is kind of better, but not really. And so, it is what it is. I would have to take it to the doctor, and like the doctor would be like, okay, we're doing your breast exam, turn left. And I'd be like, all right, turn left. I just said, like it was so wacky.
But that's what we do. We do those things. Now I'm going to present something. I want your opinion, all of you, that we have you here. And, we just showed you something. I just tried this new flavor of something I like, and I was disturbed at first. My wife bought it. I'm gonna show you guys. It's called Triscuit, but tzatziki flavor. So it's Triscuit tzatziki, natural flavor with other natural flavor. Now I'm not trying to do product placement for Triscuit, but let me tell you, it was fucking delicious. It's tzatziki flavored Triscuits. Have you guys ever had this?
No,
Not yet.
So I'm just telling you, my wife got it at Ralph's here at the supermarket. It's 120 calories, about 9 servings, saturated fat 0, no sugar, it's actually very healthy food. But I got to tell you, now the only thing that disturbs me as a Greek, it's a tzatziki flavor, but in the top here, it's got like a little village somewhere in the middle America. They should have Greek.
Midwest.
The Midwest, right? And it's Triscuit. But what we did, we took the tzatziki Triscuit and we put it with some feta and pitted Kalamata olives with a little slice of domata. It was like an explosion in your mouth of Greekness.
Oh, no.
So I think we're on to something here now. So I don't know.
Fonty, can you get on the phone with Triscuit and get some sponsorship money?
Because now the thing is, I'm going to ask all of you, because we're talking about it. Because when it comes to food, especially, I've noticed now, especially in America, they have a fascination with anything Greek, whether it be yogurt, whether it be, all this stuff, cheese and everything else, and people tend to like it. And I'm going to ask all of you, when people find out, if they don't know you're Greek, if they find out you're Greek, do they share food stories with you about Greek food?
All the time.
Yeah.
Gus,
do you get that a lot?
It's always, oh my God, I love gyro. And it's like, how do you, right. And then because they're my age, they're like, but how do you say it? Can you say it for me? Is it gyro? And I'm like, here we go. Yes. I get a lot of questions. I get a lot of like, where's the best Greek food in New York is my main question. And I have a couple answers and they're all in Astoria.
Tell us.
Well, one, there's a food truck in Astoria called King Souvlaki. Which is the best Greek food I've ever had. And
really?
I mean, it's so good. I mean, there's so much good Greek food.
Hold on, Gus. King Souvlaki?
King Souvlaki. It's a food truck, and they have a store, like an actual store in Bay Ridge now. They opened, which is great, and they have outdoor seating. You can go if you're in Bay Ridge. There's a few places in Park Slope near me that are really good. Athena's really good. Kyklades is really good.
I've been to Kyklades,
yeah. Kyklades is awesome, and then Agnadi is great too.
Nice.
Oh, I'm hungry.
Now, Gus, we got a fan sent in a question for you. It says, Gus, as a first-generation Greek American, I connect to your comedy in deeply relatable ways. But how do you feel your Greek-themed comedy connects with the American audience? As a follow-up, do you ever feel a kind of responsibility of communicating Greek culture, thinking to others for their first time through your work? Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. I love that. question. I think so. Okay, for the first part, how do you feel your Greek themed comedy connects? So, okay, whenever I make those videos, I really, really try to not make them so specific that I'm excluding other cultures, because I know what's funny about the mom character is that she's technically an archetype of like any immigrant mom. Yeah. And so if I can lean into the immigrant experience in that way, that's what I try to do. So anytime I get specific, you can see that I either like subtitle it or I try to explain it within the joke so that people who may not be Greek will understand what I'm saying. Because And my favorite comments I get on all those videos are like, oh my God, my mom is Arabic and she's exactly the same. My mom is Persian, she's exactly the same. Oh my God, our Korean mom's exactly the same. It's like, those are my favorite comments because it's literally just like, oh my God, people get it. They're seeing that it's like, wow, we're all just like the same culture and like one, and we have differences, but we have a lot of similarities, and that's what's beautiful about it. And that's what's funny at the end of the day. And then in terms of like a responsibility of communicating Greek culture, like yes and no. I think it's important that like a lot of people that may not be Greek are learning about Greek culture through the things I do. But I think that like the responsibility is more like, oh, I just want to make sure that they acknowledge that it's funny. And that's what they're like, oh, I get it. It's just like my mom or my family or whatever like that.
Nice. That's very, very well said. I find it's interesting because as a comic, you're always going to bring it up. If you listen to Yanni Pappas or even other comedians like Ellen Karas or Basil or yourself, myself, whatever, I think it's like Jewish comics or Italian comics. And I like the idea of communicating it. You don't want to make it the focal point either, right? It's because you made a good point. We got to work for all audience. And I think that it's so important that, is that they know the number one thing about comedy is that they get to know you as a person and who you are. Mm-hmm. And then once they get to know you, then they can sort of connect to what you're saying. That's been my experience. Right. And sometimes Lisa and I talk about this a lot. We talk about like giving laughs versus getting laughs. It's like on stage, a lot of comics go in with this selfish attitude of like, I want to get all the laughs from the audience. And it's like not about that. You go to a comedy show because you're giving laughs to that audience and you're making sure they have a good time. And so that's the responsibility I have as a comic. Not like, oh, I need to teach people about the gay experience in 1992. It's like, no, I just want to make some people laugh and feel joy. And if they learn something, then great. That's amazing. Now, funny you bring that up, Gus. Do you find that there's other young people in your age range or from Greek background that admire the fact that you come out in your act and talk about being a gay Greek American person? Is that something you find that has helped people?
Honestly, I get a lot of messages about it, and it breaks my little heart. It's so nice. Like I get a lot of messages from people that are like, my son is gay and he really has found a lot of comfort in like seeing you being like out and proud on your Instagram. And I got a message the other day that was like, my little brother is gay. He just told me he's scared to tell my parents. I don't know what to tell him to make him feel better. And I just sent her this long message back. And I was like, I don't know what to say, but like, this was my experience. And hopefully like he can learn from it too. I mean, yeah, it really, you do get a lot of it. Cause the Greek American community, there can be a lot of homophobia. I'm not saying it's true for all Greek Americans, but it really does exist, and it really can be not an issue, but it's something that's prevalent. I think that a lot of people won't follow me on Instagram because I'm a gay guy in a wig, but I think that they're missing out. I really
exactly.
I think that they are wrong, but I get comments I get a message once a week from someone that's like, don't do political stuff or don't do this. And it's like, just saying I'm gay is not political. I hate to break it to you. Like,
exactly.
I don't know what to say. So I think that like those messages are just the most heartwarming to me. I really do say that.
Well, I think what happens is that they see somebody like you who's pursuing a career and who works hard as you do, because I know you do, and you're coming out. I think it's comforting, and it's also a great example for other people to say, hey, Gus can do it, whatever. It doesn't have to be comedy. It could be anything that you don't have to. And you're right. Sometimes the old world is stuck in the old world, and they're not up to date in the new world. And that's why, it's like, why not? I mean, if it's something, and I always think it's a good thing for other people to share. I've had people tell me that, your comedy helped me heal. Something bad happened to me. Or I always wanted to be a singer or an artist. And, even growing up, I mean, nobody in our families were in the entertainment business. We were either running diners or go to school, and, it was so set. So I think it's nice now even with this forum that we have, Connecting Greeks, that we're able to bring people of your talent on and share those stories for other people to hear them, and then that's the whole idea.
Well, if let me say something from a non-performer, public person. It's very, very brave of both of you to do what you do, and Gus, especially with everything that you just explained to us. I do this show with you guys, and I have so many things in my head and in my background that I'm like, oh my God, I would never talk about this. I would never do that. I would never. And then when you think about it, and I was thinking about it now because you're both talking about it, and I'm like, it is freaking brave to get out there and put yourself out there and give of your life out in the open, because people can be great, but people can be complete assholes. And it's it's a very brave thing for you guys to share of yourselves. And I have a lot of respect for that. And I think it's great. And I applaud you both. And Gus, I absolutely applaud you, because I know of a lot of these old school Greeks that it would just be a nightmare. I don't even want to think about it, how difficult. And it's a very, very brave thing. And I applaud you both.
Well, thank you. Yeah. It's you gotta live your truth at the end of the day. You really do. And right. I mean, my mom was when I put my mom in a video, she was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And then she saw all the comments and she was like, I love this. This is great. This is amazing. She was like, this is the greatest thing. Where's my check? Where's my money? Is what she said.
That's great.
That's the best way to get Greeks on board.
Now I'm famous, she said.
So, Gus, tell us some of the writing gigs that if you can share some with us. I know you last time we talked, you said you were working on stuff. What is some of the stuff that we may have seen your writing projects on for people listening today that they may have watched in any form?
Sure. So I wrote for a show called The Lion Guard on Disney Junior.
My daughter watches that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was a writer on I was worked on it from the first season, but I was the assistant. I was a writer on the third season. And then I wrote for a show called Rainbow Rangers on Nick Jr. and Abby Hatcher, which is also on Nick Jr. And now I'm working on a Netflix show that I can't talk about. And then freelancing on a Rugrats episode.
Nice.
Can I ask, how did you get into that? Did you go to school for that? Did you just you knew somebody? Did you apply randomly? How do you get into writing for a major network?
So I took a very traditional route. I was living in New York. I went to NYU. I went to film TV school. The last day of class, my teacher was like, I have this old student of mine. He's looking for an assistant, or is anyone interested? It's in LA. And I was like, well, I've been in New York my whole life. I might want a new adventure. I applied, I interviewed, I got the job. I was this guy's assistant. He was the showrunner for Lion Guard, the executive producer. I was his assistant for a year and a half. And then I was the writer's assistant. And then I was a staff writer. It was so traditional. It was the most traditional route you can take in the industry.
Nice.
And then eventually I started meeting other people that were writers and the writers on that show. And then they were, producing their own shows, and then they wanted to bring me on. Yeah.
But that's always good.
Yeah. It shows you have a talent, because people in the industry are seeing your stuff and bringing you on board. So that's pretty cool.
But Gus made a good point. He said in the whole class, he said, who's interested in this? And he sees the opportunity. The big mistake people do if they come to LA or New York is that they sometimes come here looking for the break. And sometimes the break is given to you, and people don't take advantage of it,
Yeah, that's very true.
And is it right? And I think what happens is that a lot of times I've had a lot of people ask me, hey, how do you get an agent for film or for voice or for whatever? I go, well, you got to pursue it. You got to take courses. Like you said, take courses if you go to acting school, and then you meet people and they post on the bulletin board, open workshop or whatever. You really got to be all in. And I think the big problem, people are enamored by entertainment, but they don't realize, right, Gus, the work that's actually put into writing on a show.
Right. I mean, that's why I mentioned that I took a traditional route, because I meet a lot of people that are like, well, how did it happen? and they expect me to just say like, oh yeah, well, I just woke up one morning and I submitted a script on a Gmail and he loved me and he hired me. And it's like, that is not what's going to happen. And I tell people all the time that ask me questions, I'm like, okay, well, if you want to be a writer, what do you have? What scripts have you written? And if they don't have like, 3 or 4 scripts that they have that are their own original ideas, I'm kind of like, well, you need to get 4 pilots written that you really like so you can go out and pursue agents and managers and things like that.
So true. That's so true. So I'm going to ask you this, what you liked and didn't like. What do you like and don't like about living in New York and Los Angeles? Because you've been bi-coastal here. You've done both cities. What did you like about LA and what did you hate?
So there's a lot of things I like about LA. I don't want to be like the LA hater. I just want to point that out. I've never even been to Chicago, so I'm leaving Chicago all the way out of this. Or Boston. I haven't even been to Boston yet. I don't know. It's just something that never happened. But okay, so LA. The thing I love about LA is the food. Best food. It has the really good, not as good as New York, but really, really good food. There's like a few restaurants that I really, really miss and I wish I could still go to. I do miss the weather, I guess. After a while though, it really gets to you. It's like, oh, this again, here we go. And like LA overall is like not a city. It's a networking event. And so it's like so hard to develop like good friendships with people because there's always like that like, oh yeah, you work for Disney in the back of their head, and it's like, leave me alone. I just want to be your friend. I just want to go on hikes with people.
They love to talk about. They always say we don't want to talk about your Disney. It's all about the industry.
I can't tell you how many times I was at parties in LA and people would ask me what I did before they asked me what my name was.
Yeah, but in New York, isn't New York like where do you live or what do you pay for rent? Like the automatic.
Yes, the New York, right. It's totally, yeah. But I don't mind that. Like, I don't care. I love that. You know what I love about New York? I love that I can walk downstairs and I can go get a bagel. There's 3 coffee shops, my bank, Starbucks, a pizza place, and groceries all in the same block. Like that is and I don't have to even have a car. It's amazing. It's the best life. I don't know why anyone would choose anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
So one of the viewers asked, have you ever been to a D.C.?
I have not been to D.C.
All right, listen, you got to get to Boston, you got to get to Chicago, and you got to get to D.C.
Angela will pick you up on the way over here.
Yeah.
Why not? Boston's a good food town.
Yeah.
I like that. Boston reminded me a lot of living up in Montreal or Ottawa. You got all the seasons like New York.
But we're obnoxious sports fans. That's the only problem.
Yeah, that's the only problem. You guys, you're really obnoxious winners and you're really sore losers. And they're all happy because the Raptors lost to the Celtics in 7 games.
No, we're happy that Tom Brady lost last week. That's what we're happy about.
The Celtics won, so that was good. But I always find it interesting because let me ask you this, Gus. What's inspiring you now let's talk about the COVID, because this has been a lot of people haven't worked. And are you getting any inspiration from the COVID and being home more often? Is it giving you any new ideas for stuff? Because for some people it's been zero. And for a lot of other people, it's been, I've seen different things.
Yes, some people are like rearranging their lives. I'm really into it. Some people are like, I lost 100 pounds. I have a beard now. I love seeing that. I personally was like, okay, well, I can't do, because, my day was I worked from home. I was writing for Nick Jr. during the day. So it was like, I would wake up, I would go to the gym, I would write for this kid's show all day long, and then around 4:30, I would leave my house, I would go do shows, I would go do open mics. I was doing 2-3 spots a night in New York. So I was literally just leaving my apartment and just running around New York City all day long doing stand-up. And then I would get home at 1 a.m., and then I would wake up in the morning and I would do it all over again. And then
I'm sorry, does your brain ever get screwed up writing for a kid's show all day and then doing stand-up? Like, do you ever start like kid talk during your stand-up or anything like that?
No, not at all. No, maybe a couple times I'll just be like, Rainbow Rangers save the day right before I get off stage. Yeah.
It's funny.
But no, I mean, that was my day, and then COVID hit, and I was like, well, that half my day is gone now, so I don't know what to do. And so I was like, I'm gonna pivot. I'm gonna make some content, and I'm gonna really make it good. And that's what I decided, and that's what I'm putting my energy into now. And I've been seeing a lot of really good stuff come out of it, and it's been great.
Awesome. That's good. Yeah, because I think I just talking to some of my friends, or everybody thinks that when a bunch of comedians get together, it's ha funny. Not necessarily like that.
Oh my God, it's so depressing.
It's depressing because a lot of my friends are like, "Hey, Ange, how are you coping in LA?" "Oh, good. I'm with the family, and I'm not working. We have our good days and our bad days, and I think you just got to move with it. And some days I'll think of a joke or something. Somebody said something, or I'll write it down. And I've been working on different things, but it's. I think the key is, I think most people in the entertainment business, they're not worried about fame or fortune. They're worried about not working. That's a bit. If you really talk to the people who are successful, they're like, I just don't want to be out of work, right? So, I'm good friends with Billy Gardell. When he was on Mike and Molly, he had 6 seasons where it went great. And literally the week it was off, he was worried that he wasn't going to work again. Because in our kind of business, you could be going for 3-4 years, and then 6 months or a year, you don't get work. It just happens. And then, like you said, something happens, someone calls you. So I think like all of us are going through, I'm not just saying entertainment people, I'm saying everybody in general is maybe kind of feeling like that. So I'm trying to keep a routine. I'm going to ask you now, and all of you, are you trying to keep a routine? I can't go to bed before 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't matter what I do. Are you having insomnia, any of you, or how's it going? No?
Me, routine continues.
Yeah.
Okay.
40 passes out by 11 every night. But before you answer that, I just want to also address that, like, it's again another brave facet of what you guys do that is a little scary to non public people. It's like you guys are in an industry that's very, I don't know because I'm not in it, but from what I know of the industry, that's a tough industry, man, because one day you could be on top and one day you could be nothing, and one day you could have work and the next day you could have no work, and it's one of those things where you have to be very and correct me if I'm wrong, you have to be very confident in yourself. You have to be very brave because you don't know what's going to happen. That industry is very tough. I read all the, the celebrity mags and the gossip rags and blah, blah, blah. So I'm not, I don't know, but I know what I read. And it's like, that's a tough business to be in. And it's pretty cool when you guys are in it, especially if you make it, because it's like, you deserve it, because anybody in that industry really deserves it, because you put in the time, you pay your dues, and if you make it, God bless you.
Wow, that was powerful.
Yeah,
It was very powerful, Ari.
That's
I think it's a very kind of like. So let me ask you guys: has anybody been able to travel? And I'm going to tell you, I've been fortunate to travel around the whole world, literally. Anywhere they speak English, I've done comedy. And what's interesting right now? The only place I want to go through the whole COVID crisis is Greece. And I know it sounds very, a very standish situation, but I really just want to go to Greece for the summer. What is it about Greeks? And I've had this conversation with people all around the world, and I always say this: everybody should go to Greece once in their life. But I really miss it this year. I was supposed to be there in August. Yeah. And I couldn't go this year because they just won't let us go anywhere.
I know of a lot of people who went to Greece, and I was shocked because I thought that you cannot go to Greece. And then I'm on my Instagram and my Facebook, and people are posting pictures from Greece. And I'm like, how did that happen? But apparently if you get this rigorous testing routine, or you have a specific reason to be there, it could happen, right?
No, as long as you have Greek citizenship, which a lot of
maybe that's it.
Who scramble Greek citizenship expedited quickly.
Okay. Yeah, because I think a lot of these people they might be. Yeah.
I had to cancel my plans with the family, so we had plans to go to Greece for the whole summer. So unfortunately, we couldn't go, so we had to cancel all the flights.
That's because
it sucks. Doesn't it suck? It's like Because I tell people all the time, before Gus, I was a comic. I was a travel agent. I had an agency
You
business.
look like one.
And we went like that, of course, and then the whole thing. But how do you feel about it,
$9
Gus?
in my big fat Greek wedding.
Yeah.
I have not traveled. I haven't been anywhere. I've really just stayed in New York. But right now, I went on Airbnb.com yesterday and just looked up nearby. I didn't even put in a location. I just said somewhere the fuck out of my apartment is what I said to Airbnb. Is what I need to do. I'm really considering just like booking a cabin for a week and just staying there by myself, or
just to get out
just to leave a little bit.
Well, Gus, like I've been stuck in DC for most of this quarantine, most of this COVID period, and just last week, for the first time, I went to Cape Cod, in Massachusetts. Just getting out of the same thing is so, like, it helps your brain. Like, whatever you could do it. Change your scenery a little bit, even if it's for a day or two. I highly suggest that it'll help you.
Gus, how pre-COVID, how often would you visit Greece?
I would go every 2 years regularly, and then I took a long 6-year break because I was in LA, and then I went last summer with my parents, and it was great, and it was very last minute, and I wasn't going to go, and I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go for 2 weeks. I'm going to spend a nice vacation with my parents because they're getting old, and as they say every day, I'm going to die anytime I'm going to die, Gus. And I'm like, 62 years old, you're not going to die. Relax, Dad. But that's what they do. They're like, "Θα πεθάνουμε σε λίγο, θα πεθάνουμε." I'm like, what? What's going to happen? And so I was like, fine, I'll go to Greece with you. So I went to Greece. We had a great time. We only fought like once. It was great.
That's impressive.
It was impressive. We fought because we were taking a bus to my dad's town, and I really needed to pee. And my mom was like, "Κατουριέσαι πάλι, πάντα κατουριέσαι. Όπου και να πάμε πρέπει να κατουρίσεις." I'm like, we've been in a bus for 3 hours. Yeah, I need to pee.
What is it about Greeks and death? They love death. They'll use it. Like my mom would say, she leave me a message. Para me piso. Ama δεν έχω πεθάνει. Click.
Yeah.
And I'm
what is that?
Call me back if I'm not dead.
You know why? Because that's the guiltiest they can make you feel. And a Greek parent goes for the guilt 100%.
How about this guy?
Right.
Gus and Angel. Θα με θυμάσαι όταν πεθάνω.
Remember me when I'm dead.
Θα θυμάσαι αυτές τις κολοκυθοκευτέδες όταν πεθάνω. Like, what? It really gets, like, it goes hard. And anytime
you will remember.
Anytime you leave the house, it's like, oh, if άμα κάνεις κοκαίνη θα πεθάνεις. Like, it's not just like, and then, it's not just like you're going to do a bad thing and like end up in jail or get in trouble. It's like, no, you're going to smoke weed one time and you're going to be dead.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you guys what happened just before we got on. My mom called from Montreal, so I put my daughter on. My daughter's 8. And she went up to her and she goes, yeah, Sagapao, I missed you. When am I going to see you? And my mom starts crying. And my wife goes, you let her cry? I go, this is payback. And all you got to do is get and now I just get my daughter on the phone. Yeah, I miss you. And because they used to beat the crap out of us.
Right.
But now we have the grandkids are just like the sacred. And my wife goes, what are you're laughing. I go, it's payback time. Because all the times, like, θα πεθάνω, θα βρεις μία και θα τρως στο McDonald's κάθε μέρα. Shit like that, right? But this is what makes us funny, I think. These are the things.
Yeah, definitely.
I can't even say kolokiftedis. Kolokiftedis, right?
Yeah. I really do think the thing that drives me crazy about my mom right now is watching her with my niece and nephew and her grandchildren. Oh my God. It's like, I see her taking care of my niece and nephew. And I'm like, this is why I'm like this. She ruined us. Yeah. Because when you were 3 and 2 years old, you don't have the memory to remember what she was saying to you. Right. She's literally telling a 3-year-old, "Άμα δεν φας αυτές τις πατάτες, θα σε σκοτώσω." I'm like, what is this? Like, he is 2 years old.
Θα σου βγάλω τα μάτια, θα σου φάω το σκότι. They're like
Bueno,
serial killers.
βγάλει Παναγία σήμερα, τι μου κάνεις? I'm like, what? He's 3. He doesn't even speak English. Leave him alone.
But he knows all the threats in the world.
I swear to God, he's not verbal yet because he's learning like Greek, Spanish, and English at the same time through my mom and my sister-in-law. He's barely verbal, but the first thing that's going to come out of his mouth is either kolokithokeftedes in full, or it's going to just be like, oh, θες να με σκοτώσεις σήμερα, like in a full like, that's what he's gonna say. It's wild.
That's awesome. Oh man, I'm sure all of our families have these experiences with our moms who just really put it out there. Like, wow,
you know, he's saying it. Gus is saying it. We're all laughing because we've all heard it.
all the time.
You know, it's the same thing.
It's kind of psychotic.
Oh, man.
Or my favorite when I was a kid was my mom would make all this food and I'd be like, I'm not that hungry. I can't eat all of this. Like, θα τα φας και θα πεις και ένα τραγούδι. I'm like, I'm gonna. What?
That's my favorite.
Why would I do that?
Oh man.
Τα φας και θα πεις και ένα
Well, you know,
τραγούδι.
how about this, Gus? We're talking about food, and we always like to ask certain questions to our guests towards the end of our segment, and the boys can chime in. Can you tell us favorite and least Greek food that you can tell us about? Favorite and least favorite.
I just say I hate fakes.
I like them.
I cannot stand lentil soup. It's the most disgusting thing in the world. And my mom would force feed it to me. She would make me French fries. She'd be like, θα σου φτιάξω πατάτες τηγανιτές, αλλά only if you eat the fakes. I'm like, okay, I'll eat the fakes. That was literally most of my meals growing up is French fries with a side of lentil soup. It's disgusting.
It's good.
Lentil soup.
So to this day, you still don't eat it.
I still don't eat it. And now it's become really popular amongst white people. And they love
it's
it.
healthy.
What about favorite Greek food?
My favorite Greek food? Oh my God. Ugh.
If you had to
Honestly,
choose one dish.
It's probably kolokithokeftedes. I really fucking love them. Or
those are good.
Know what? I will say I love biftekia. I love like a bifteki, a nice like a good bifteki on like at a taverna on the beach in Greece. It's like my favorite thing.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah, so one of the audience to go back to what we were talking about, I just want to make the comment. So she wrote, when I was little, my yaya regularly called me panukla. When I grew up and discovered Google Translate, I realized my sweet, pious, God-fearing yaya was calling me a plague.
Wow.
I didn't know the word for plague, but panukla kind of sounds like a nice word.
Plague.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
How about Gus? You said you've been to Greece. You've traveled frequently with the family, but favorite destination in Greece that you've been to, or any of the places you've been to had the most impact on you?
I love Ayo. I think Ayo is great. I mean, it's definitely not a vacation spot by any means because it's like on the mainland, and like I feel like it's hard to recommend that to people. But Zakynthos and Mytilene, bringing Mytilene back, amazing, so amazing. Like. Cool. Tell people that go to Greece every time if they're like, "What do I do? Where should I go?" And they're not Greek. Like, don't go to Mykonos. Don't go to Santorini. Go to the 3 islands around Santorini and go to the other side of Greece where you can go to Zakynthos, Mytilene, Kefalonia. Go to other places, Crete, where people aren't going to be like only American, and you're going to get a good, better, more authentic experience. Is what I say.
That's true. That's a good point.
Good point. Great point. And so, Gus, tell us where can people find you, your handles and everything. Gus Constantellis, all on TikTok and Instagram. What are your handles so we can let everybody know where to look for you?
I'm constantly Gus on everything, pretty much.
That's awesome.
And then on Facebook through my name. But all my social media is constantly Gus. I just got on Cameo this week, so if you want a Greek mom cameo or a Gus Constantellis cameo, you can hit me up.
For our audience, can you explain to them what Cameo is if they don't know?
Sure. Cameo is a basically you pay to get a personalized message from either an influencer, an artist, an actor, a celebrity, a musician, whatever, and they basically make you a personalized message and send it to you. It's great. I've been doing all these like happy birthday messages as Greek mom, and they've been very, very fun. I've been doing like birthday messages, anniversary messages. I'm doing a divorce message tomorrow, which is going to be hilarious.
I was going to say, more importantly, μπορείς να βρήσεις κάποιον if we get you on Cameo?
Well, sometimes people ask for that. Sometimes some people are like, this is for my aunt. She's kind of sensitive. And some people are like, this is for my daughter. Feel free to roast her. It really varies. So you can put in it what you want me to, make jokes about or what you want me to say. And so it's really fun.
That's really cool. Angela, you got to get on that too.
Yeah, I've been meaning to. I haven't because I've been so busy being in a coma for 6 months that I haven't really had an opportunity to.
Angela, I'm gonna hire you to just whisper sweet nothing so I could go to bed at night. That's awesome, Gus. We're gonna list all of those on our video page and also on the podcast that we make from. So
that's wonderful.
Constantly Gus all across the board. I'm gonna check it all out and make sure I list it properly for you. Guys, anything else you gonna mention? Talk about anything else? Last minute thoughts?
No, I think it's been great having you on the show today, Gus. You're definitely a talent. You got a great personality. You tell funny stories. Anybody out there, Constantly Gus, check it out. I checked out your stuff, and it's hilarious.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys. You guys are great.
No, for sure. And thanks for coming on the show with us. And Connecting Greeks. I'm going to let Ari take us out of this, but thank you, Gus, Ari, Forti, myself.
Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Gus.
Let's keep connecting and let's keep it going because we have so much to celebrate. We got to keep celebrating it. So thanks again, Gus.
We absolutely will. Thank you, Gus. Thank you, Forti. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, everybody out there for watching. Check out the video. Check out the podcast. We'll see you next week. Everybody, thank you again. Gus, you're awesome. Angelo, I love you. We will see you guys next week. Take care.
Thanks, guys.